Hello, and welcome to Movie Talk with Ellis Charles Hoffmeister. Film talk? Movie talk? I don't know. One of those. Okay, so it's been a few days, so what are we talking about? What are we thinking about? What are all the hot new movie jams that have happened over the last chunk of time? I feel like I talked about It Happened One Night last time, and still thinking about it. It's great. Highly recommend. So it was St. Patrick's Day, and I said I was going to watch The Quiet Man, and I didn't. I will watch that movie eventually, but I just have never got around to it. But I did start the day with Leprechaun, which just feels like always a good choice. Leprechaun is one of those just classics, something that you can't take your eyes away and you want to throw shoes at. I did, however, watch one. I still can't apparently figure out where I'm focusing on this dang phone, and I'm just going to keep it in as long as we're doing it. So, I did end up watching also my laughing is probably super annoying, but that's okay because you're watching my video, so I don't care, and that's cool. But I did end up watching a seminal, beautiful Disney classic, Darby O'Gill and the Little People, which is delightful. It is Sean Connery, like young, hot Sean Connery. I was just like, oh God. I think it was right before James Bond too, right before Dr. No. I think it was the film that someone saw and was like, okay. But he has an Irish accent in this film, and I will just say that Sean Connery's Irish accent, because he is Scottish in real life, is a little like Keanu Reeves in Bram Stoker's Dracula, where you're not quite sure what is going on. Now, accents are really hard. I love an accent, but at the same time, I can acknowledge that they are really, really friggin' hard, and certain ones are just impossible to me, like Scottish. So, good for you. But, now I'm just thinking about Robert Shaw. Anyway, I got lost. Speaking of, Bond people, young, hot, blonde Robert Shaw, I mean, he'll always be Jaws for me, which is one of my all-time favorites. So anyway, I watched Darby O'Gill and the Little People, which, gotta love Disney. They just have some bonkers old live action films that are just incredible. High recommend is Watcher in the Woods if you've never seen it. That is one of those films that we always reference in our family and we love dearly. So, if you've never seen The Watcher in the Woods, it's incredible. I don't know where you can find it, though, because I don't think it's streaming on Disney+, and maybe it's on YouTube. I have a DVD of it somewhere around here, but I don't know where. So Darby O'Gill and the Little People, it's a whole lot of something. Let's just put it that way. And then I watched one of the best horror movies that I have seen in a long, long time. And just so you know, I love horror films. I think they're incredible. And I'd heard a lot about this film, but I had never watched it. And a friend and I watched the film Lake Mungo, which is one of the creepiest things I've seen in a long, long time. It is currently streaming on Shudder, and I can't recommend it enough. There's one or two things about it that are a little frustrating because they kind of leave you hanging on that. But at the same time, it's so just keeps going where you don't think it's gonna go. And the reveals are shocking. And there are multiple shocking reveals through the whole film. So Lake Mungo, if you want to see the scariest thing you've said in a while, both my friend and I were deeply perturbed after it ended. And we both watch a lot of horror movies. That said, I was having a horror movie kind of thing with my good friend, and I did something that I'm ashamed of, which was I fell asleep in pretty much every film we watched, because if I'm even a little remotely tired, I need to put on those old staple, television shows. For me, watching a film, I need to be fully, engaged and focused, and Lake Mungo I was, but I was also a little tired, and there were some films that I may have dozed off in, including Tusk, which I made my friend watch, having not seen, but knowing the big, wild reveal in that film, and it's bonkers. I will say about Tusk is that there is a hugely famous actor that shows up in that film. Tusk is the Kevin Smith film with Justin Long, and I think Michael Parks, and there is an actor that shows up in there that is shocking when you realize who it is. So, you know, the makeup, wild. We started to watch the film Horror in the High Desert. I will finish it, but it was tough. And I'm so happy for the love it's getting and the people who made it, and I'm so happy for all of them, but it was... I'm gonna have to finish it at a later time. Watch parts of Chopping Mall, which is always a great time. If Paul Bartel and Mary Woronov show up in anything, and, you know, Barbara Crampton and a lot of sexy 80s men and women, Chopping Mall is just a great time. Watched the second half of The Ring, which I hadn't seen in a long time. Forgot that Brian Cox was in that. And watched Valentine, which is so of its time. It just is. It's something. It really wanted to be a Scream, and I know what you did last summer, but it is fun. It's just very of its time and has a cast that is just unbelievable. Of people that you know from certain films: Denise Richards, Marley Shelton, Jessica Capshaw, it's David Boreanaz, it's bonkers. And then I watched Westwood Punk Icon Activist. God, this is a long video, I'm so sorry. I would cut this down, but I'm not going to, and you can turn it off if you don't want to keep watching this, that's fine. Westwood Punk Icon Activist, which was great and very inspiring and beautiful, especially if you're into Vivienne Westwood. Hilariously enough, Vivienne Westwood actually denounced it before its Sundance premiere, and I have a feeling like we had tickets to it for some reason and didn't see it, alongside the Gloria Allred documentary, which I still have not seen and need to. And then I watched the incredible Pillow Talk, which has, if you're a screenwriter, you have to see Pillow Talk. Doris Day and Rock Hudson are delightful in it. I'd never seen a Doris Day and a Rock Hudson film. It is wild. I turned it on kind of casually and then just got so sucked in, and the dialogue, the screenplay, it won an Academy Award for the screenplay. It's incredible. It's streaming on Criterion. So that is Film Ramble, and it was a ramble, and I need to go check my pasta now. Bye.